everybody. I hope everybody's having a great week this week and enjoying the first week of fall. So this week what's popping and dropping is a spider web spider pop-up card. There we have it right there. So let's go ahead and head over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how we can make this card. I'll see you there. Okay guys, now that we're here in Design Space, let's go ahead and get started. What you can do if you already have this file we did a couple of weeks ago, it's the bat pop-up card, and you can go get this piece out of that so you don't have to create it again. And then once you get it, we are going to need two of these. One we want a size 5.5, and it should change your other side to 5.503. And then the other one we want to do at 3.5, and it should change your other side to 3.502. And then once we have those made, you can go ahead and group them and move those aside. Then we are going to need 4 pieces of 0.375 by 3.5. And you'll just, once you make this, you'll duplicate it 3 more times, so you have a total of 4. And then we can group those and move those pieces aside. Now let's go to shapes. We are going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.011 by 2.029. Rotate it 90 degrees. We'll place the X at 0.278 and the Y at 1.941. Then we can right click, duplicate it. We're going to rotate it 14 degrees. We'll place the X at 0.494 and the Y at 1.322. Then we can right click, duplicate this square right here again. Then we're going to rotate it 316.7 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.505 and the Y at 1.772. Then we're going to grab the 2 slanted squares we just made, and we're going to go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then we're going to grab all 3 pieces and then go down to the bottom and click on slice. Then let's highlight the piece we welded together and then go down to contour on our right hand side. And then we're going to get rid of those top 2 pieces at the top. Then we're going to highlight the long straight piece at the top, go down to contour, and then we're going to get rid of those 2 end pieces. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then we should have one solid piece that looks like this. Then what we're going to do is take this piece. We are going to adjust it to 2.011 for the width, and it should adjust your other side to 1.128. And then we're going to right click, duplicate, flip horizontal, then flip vertical. So we should have another piece that looks like this. Then we're going to take the top piece that looks like this, and we are going to make sure it's 2.011 by 1.128. We're going to place the X and the Y at 1, and we need to adjust it to 1.06 in the rotation right here. And then the bottom one, we're going to rotate it 180.76 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.03 and the Y at 4.225. Then we can grab both of those pieces and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. Then what we're going to do is go to shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make it 4.227. And we're going to rotate it 359.77 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.012 and the Y at 1.079. Then we can take that score line and we are going to make it 1.324. We're going to rotate it 316.11 degrees, and we're going to place the X at 1.011 and the Y at 2.157. Then we can right click, duplicate, and we are going to rotate it 47.18. We're going to place the X at 2.021 and the Y at 2.234. Right click, duplicate that score line. We are going to make it 1.324. We're going to rotate it 226.11 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.014 and the Y at 3.254. Then we can right click, duplicate. We're going to rotate it 135.04 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.061 and then the Y at 3.234. Then we can grab it all and group it together. Now let's go to shapes. Let's get a square. Let's make it 10.5 by 6.5. We're going to get a score line that's 6.5 inches long, and we are going to place it in the middle at 6.25 and the Y at 1 because I have my X and Y at 1. We get our card base made and the score line in the middle. We're going to take this piece that we just made. Then once we have our score line on, we're going to take this piece that we just made. We're going to place the X at 5.216 and the Y at 2.064. And for our card base, the X and the Y is at 1. Then we can grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on attach. Okay, so now let's go to shapes. We are going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.028 by 2.486. We're going to rotate it 4.37 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.004 and the Y at 1. Then we can get another square. We're going to make it 0.032 by 5.783. We're going to rotate it 351.59 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 3.429. Then we can right click, duplicate this top one we just made, and then we're going to take it and we're going to rotate it 175.63 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.84 and then the Y at 9.034. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And now we should have one solid piece that looks like this. Then we're going to take this piece that we have here and we're going to place the X at 1.685 and the Y at 1.226. Then we're going to right click, duplicate, flip horizontal. Then we're going to flip vertical. And then we should have something that's looking like so. We're going to place the X at 2.305 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to shapes and we're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.014 by 2.472. Rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 2.851. Then we're going to right click, duplicate that square. We're going to place the X at 1.741 and the Y at 9.92. Then we're going to take our two longer pieces, hold the shift key and grab both of them, and then we're going to go down to the bottom and click on weld. Let's grab our two shorter pieces and we're going to weld those together. And then once they're welded, let's grab all four pieces and go down to the bottom and click on slice. And highlight the two lines, go to contour, and then we're just going to get rid of the end pieces on the top and the bottom. So you should have something that's looking like this. Then let's grab our bigger piece, and then we're going to get rid of the ends on that piece. So we should have something that's looking like this. Then let's grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. Then highlight it, go to contour, and we're going to hide all contours. So we should have this piece that looks like this. Now we're going to take our piece we just made, and we are going to resize it just a little. We're going to make it 1.302 by 5.498. We're going to place the X at and the Y at 1. Duplicate that score line again, but we need to adjust it to 0.508, and we're going to place the X at 1.692 and the Y at 5.853. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on attach, and then we can move this piece aside. Let's go to shapes. We are going to get a square. We are going to make that square 2.25 by 5. We're going to place the X and the Y at 1. Then we're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 5 inches. We're going to place the X at 2.125 and the Y at 1. Then we can grab it all, click on attach, and then move this piece aside. Let's get a half circle. We're going to make it 1.124 by 3.186. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.041 and the Y at 1.886. Then we can right click, duplicate that. We're going to place the X at 1 and then the Y at 1.611. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on slice. And this is the piece that we will be keeping. And why don't we go ahead and just set that aside. Then let's right click, duplicate this piece. We're going to place the X and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get an oval. We're going to make it 0.818 by 0.277. Rotate it 39.49 degrees. We're going to place the X at 3.233 and the Y at 1.128. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on slice. Then let's highlight our long U-shaped piece. And we're going to go down to contour, and then we're going to get rid of this piece here. And then let's click on our oval and go to contour, and then we're going to get rid of this bottom piece right here. So you should have something that's looking like this. And then if you look over here on your layers, you should have this little sliver right there. We want to go ahead and delete that piece too, so it has a nice smooth edge right there. So then let's grab both pieces and then go down to weld. And then we should have this piece here. Now let's take this piece that we made here, and we're going to make sure it's 2.912 by 1.124. We're going to rotate it 56.1 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.08 and the Y at 1.522. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.028 by 2.75. That square, and we're going to rotate it 59.32 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.741 and the Y at 1.12. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get another square. We're going to make it 0.032 by 2.25. Then we're going to rotate it 59.32 degrees. We're going to place the X at 0.875 and the Y at 1.622. Then this piece we just made and our purple piece that's here, we can grab both of those and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. Then the long piece, the square we made, and this piece we just welded together, we're going to grab both of those and then go down to the bottom and click on slice. Now if we click on the stick, we're going to go to contour and we're going to get rid of this piece here. And then we're going to click on the U-shaped piece and go to contour, and then we're going to get rid of this piece right there. And then we should have something that looks like this. So then why don't we grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then we should have a solid piece that looks like this. Set this piece aside and we're going to go to shapes, and we are going to get an oval. We're going to make it 2.098 by 1.524. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to shapes and get a triangle. We're going to make it 1.972 by 1.162, rotated 180 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.049 and the Y at 3.193 with the triangle. We're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a triangle. We're going to make it 1.972 by 1.162, rotated 180 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.063 and the Y at 3.207. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then we should have a piece that looks like this. We are going to take our circle and our triangle we welded together. We're going to make sure it's 2.098 by 3.369. We're going to place the X at 3.791 and the Y at 1. Then this leg that we set aside, we're going to adjust it to 3.523 by 2.289. We'll rotate it 356.43 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.162 and the Y at 1.557. Then we're going to right click duplicate. We're going to rotate it 8.25. We're going to place the X at 5.094 and the Y at 2.187. Then we're going to duplicate it again. We're going to rotate it 38.31 degrees. We're going to place the X at 4.953 and the Y at 2.938. Then this piece we set aside from earlier, we are going to take it and adjust it to 3.058 by 1.181. We're going to rotate it 82.55 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.05 and the Y at 3.199. Take this piece that we set aside and we are going to adjust it to 0.826 by 0.541. We're going to rotate it 264.67 degrees. We're going to place the X at 5.53 and the Y at 1.968. Then we're going to grab all the pieces except for our circle and our triangle. And we are going to group them together. And then we are going to right click, duplicate. And then we are going to flip horizontal. And we're going to place the X at 1 and then the Y at 1.557. Then once we have that lined up, we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. We'll highlight it, go to contour, and we're going to hide all contours. So we should have a spider here. Now for our spider, we're going to need two that are 3.351 by 2.239. And then I did one that is 1.204 by 0.804. And then I'm going to do two that are 0.857 by 0.573. Then what we can do is group these together and then go ahead and move them aside. The shapes, we're going to get an oval. We're going to make it 0.822 by 1.764. Then we can duplicate that oval to adjust it to 1.607 by 0.742. And then to get this one, we're going to go to shapes and get an oval. We're going to make it 0.389 by 0.665. And we're going to rotate it 90 degrees, and then we'll put the X on 1.172 and then the Y on 3.291. Then we'll get another oval and we're going to make it 0.204 by 0.135. Rotate it 90 degrees. We'll put the X at 1.283 and the Y at 3.432. Then we grab them both, go down to the bottom, click on slice, and then we have this piece, and we just need to change it to black if that's what you're going to do. And then you just line them up in the middle of your eye however you would like. and then you can group these together and move them aside. Okay guys, so here are all the basic pieces you need to make this card. Don't forget to go up and name and save your project and add any additional pieces that you would like to add. And now we can go ahead and get these pieces cut out, and then I'll meet you at the craft table and we'll put this card together. I'll see you there. Okay guys, now that we are at the craft table, we're going to do it a little different this week. So this week we're going to start with our card base. This long piece that has the 3 score lines in it, this piece that has the score line, and then our 4 little strips that look like this. That is what we are going to start off with. But before we do any of this, we're going to work our card. So we're just going to work our score line. So let's fold that in half. And then once we fold it in half, we're going to back fold it. So we're going to work the card the other way. So we're able to see our score lines. Then once we do that, you'll notice one side of the card has like this square fold here, and this one has a slanted. So this one with the square fold, we're going to work the score line towards us. So then after we work it towards us, we're going to turn it over to the other side, and we'll notice that this one has that square shape, and we're going to work it towards us. So now that we have it on this side folded back right where we can see our score lines on the inside, if we take our thumbs and push this up and then fold our card, our mechanism in the middle will start folding down like it's supposed to. And then we can just give it a nice rub. Okay, so this is how it should look something like. Now that we have that done, let's get the piece that has the 3 score lines on it, and we can just work these score lines. And then once we have it worked, you should have something that looks like this. Now that we have this piece folded, we're going to fold our tabs down. Now I'm going to these tabs are going to lay on this little square edge we have here, okay? Now, if it is not sitting properly, like if you notice how I have my long strip folded, it does not want to sit nicely on those edges, and you'll know when you're putting this together. So you might need to turn it around to the other side and fold it the opposite way. And now see how it's laying nicely in those 2 edges right there. So you might just have to flip yours around to get it to lay nice and properly. So once you have yours, you know it's going the right way.
What we're going to do is fold this back, and we're going to put a little glue on this, and then we're going to glue it to our card base. And I've just lined the score line up on this edge right here. And then we'll flip this one up and do the same thing. Then we can give it a test. Everything should fold up nicely and fold right back down. Now what we can do is we're going to take 2 of these strips and we are just going to glue them together so we have a nice strong arm. So why don't we go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that we have our little strips glued together, what we can do is turn our card over, and we're going to put these on the exact same side as where our tabs we put for our little mechanism here. So I'm going to line mine up like right at the edge of my score line here and up to the top of this line. And if my little piece sticks out, that's okay. We can just trim that off. So I'm going to put a little glue on my base here. There's my glue. I just have it following my score line right there. And then I'm going to take this piece, slide it up. And that's how it's looking. If you notice, I do have a little piece sticking off right there. And that's okay. We'll just take our scissors, and you can shut your card so you can see the piece that's sticking out right there, and we're just going to snip that off. There you have it. Notice right there it's just a little angle, and we can go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. And that's what we're looking like. So everything should be just folding up very nicely inside of our card. Now we're going to take this piece here and we're going to work our score line. And what this is going to do is just cover up our hole in the middle. And you don't have to use this if you don't want to. So what we'll do is just fold our card base up, and then we're going to take this piece here and we'll just lay it on and glue it down. And you just want to glue around this edge here, so just inside there. So this is what we are looking like. Now what we're going to do is get our 2 webs that are the 5 and the 3-inch one, and then we're going to fold them in half. And we're just going to work these, and I'm going to go this way and then this way. So we're going to fold it in quarters. And this doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it back this way into like a triangle. And we're doing this so when it folds up in the card, it's going to move very nicely with the mechanism in there. And you just want to make sure you work these pretty good. And we're going to just do the same thing to our smaller one. Then once we have that done, so this is where we're going to need our cotton ball if you want to add this to it. I thought this might make it look kind of like more like a spider web. And I'm just gonna spread mine out. Kind of liking how this is looking. So we're gonna take our spider web, and if you wanted to put a little glue, I would say maybe do it in the thicker parts if you're think it's gonna come off. This is my first time doing this. I had the idea as I was putting this card together that we could use a cotton ball. So anyways, to get this on, we're going to take glue, and this will center up like so on our page. Okay. So I'm going to put just a little glue down my score line where it folds, where we made our score line. So just down this piece right here. And you want to make sure your fold is ending up in the fold of our piece down here. So I have it there. I'm just going to fold it in half like so. And I'm going to place it in my valley down in here. And then I'm just going to set it down in my card. And your spider web should close and turn as we close our card. And then the same thing on the other side. You can just put glue, a little piece of glue here. And then we can just give it a close. And it should be closing right up very nicely. Okay. Now I'm just going to take the rest of my cotton ball and put it on here. So you can just play around with your cotton ball and however you want to put it. Now the next thing we need to do is decorate our spiders if you're going to put a face on them. So now that we have our spiders done, just decide which way you want your web to open. Like if you want the bigger one on top or bottom. I'm going with the bigger one on top. So what I'm gonna do is close my card and take one of my bigger spiders, and I'm gonna see where I can place him without him being seen with it closed. Okay, so my card is closed. This is the closed position. And then I'm gonna take my little guy and I'm gonna figure out where he can go, how high he can. So about right there. You just don't want him sticking out the card. Nothing is showing. So what I'm gonna do is put a little glue on the back of him and then glue him on there. And then we can open it up and there he is. And then it's just figuring out where you would like to place your other spiders. So I want my girl spider to be right here. So what I did is I just worked and you don't have to do yours this way. I just worked a score line over my fold, and I'm just gonna glue this little piece to the other side so it's not in my way. Everything is still closing up nice. And then I'm gonna take her and I'm gonna put her right here, I think like that. And she's not sticking out. So we can just glue our other little guys on here somewhere. Our pretty paper we can now put on, and if you use the file that I have below, you will see that these will fit very nicely inside so it doesn't bother anything. So we can go ahead and glue that on, and then once I glue this on, I'm going to go ahead and finish mine up, and then I'll be back to show you what I come up with. Okay guys, so this is my end result of my card. I just did another little spider on the front, and it says dropping in to say, and then we open it up, hey from the gang. And I think this just turned out so adorable. I didn't think I was gonna like the cotton ball on here, but I think it turned out cute with everything. Now this piece here, if you want to add it, you're going to put it on the same way how we put on the spider. You're just going to close it, and you can set it on anywhere in the card you want. This circle, the back circle, is 2 3/4, and then this one is 2.5 inches. And then I just put my little quote in the middle. So I just think that is cute. I love when we open it up how it's working. And just so you guys know that I did make a mistake on here. I was trying to snip some of this cotton off and snip my web on this side, and I just put a little spider over here to cover it up, and you'd never know. And then of course on the back we have a place where we can write a message. I just did a web with the spider holding the message area, and I thought that would be a little clever little thing to put on the back. And I am just loving how this mechanism works, guys. Do you guys know where a spider goes when he's having health problems? WebMD. Guys, I just want to thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me. Don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping. Bye!